but I was led astray the day you walked away. You were the clock that was ticking in my home.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Alright, yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Scuffy though, and today I'm back at it with a brand new video. So today's video is going to be a new series on my channel called Fortnite Basics, and basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sharing my knowledge with you guys, because in the past I've been getting lots of tips or lots of questions asking like, yo, how do you get so good, or how do you practice, or how do you do this or that, because I'd like to consider myself a decent player, and other people like taking tips from me because I stream a lot and I do some pretty crazy stuff sometimes, but I'm not saying, you know, I'm a pro, all my tips are right, but basically, like, you know, there's nothing wrong with taking tips from others, or there's never, like, you know, a little more knowledge isn't gonna hurt you. So yeah, let's get all that out the way. Like I said, I'm not a pro or anything, and if you want to take these tips by any means, be sure to use them to your knowledge and use them if you feel like it, but these aren't gonna hurt your gameplay in any way, shape, or form at all. So I'd suggest, yeah, take my information, take my tips, because I've been playing the game for a while. I've been playing since the end of season 2, and I know a lot about this game because I play it competitively, and I'm pretty good at it. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy the first video of this new series that I'm starting up on my channel. Be sure to drop any questions or any ideas that you want to see from this series, because I'm going to be advancing it. This is just going to be focused on building and maybe editing. I have not finished recording gameplay yet, but yeah, pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoy the video. I am out. Peace out, guys. Alright, so let's start with the basics. So when you want to become a better builder, basically what you want to know is literally everything about what you're building with. So you want to know the ins and outs of pyramids, you want to know the ins and outs of ramps, you want to know the ins and outs of floors, you want to know the ins and outs of walls. So a good place to start is to just work on walls and work on edits and working on speeds, and pretty much you want to learn every single different way to edit every single different object in the game, such as, you know, walls, floors, pyramids, etc., etc. So a good place to start would probably be hopping in a playground match, getting a few materials, building a box or whatever, and just working on how fast you can edit those and how accurate you can edit them. And you want to work on literally every single edits of that object. So this is a good place to start, and I would I would 100% recommend starting here. So yeah, good place to start. Alright, so the second thing I would recommend working on is probably, or something that would help you practice with starting with the basics. So like the basic things would, number one, be building a decently tall 1x1 in playgrounds, and then editing your way down from that, or like building the same height 1x1 and challenging your friend who's a pretty solid player and knows how to do it, or both. You can get practice at the same time, but basically building a big 1x1 and editing down from it, and just do it constantly, so you know, like, different ways to edit, faster way to edit down, and better ways to edit down more efficiently. So that really helps with just the basics of building. My apologies for the very, like, fuzzy video throughout this video, like in game. I know it looks pretty bad sometimes. It can get like that. I try and make it look as best as possible, but it looks pretty bad. But yeah, let's hop into the third one. Alright, so let me get some other things out the way as well. As I'm going to be talking, like I said, this video is going to be focused on building, so I'm going to be having the topic, or a clip of the topic that we're talking about in the background looping. So if you want to pause it or slow down the video is already going to be slowed down, that we can see like the technique or the specific things that I'm working on in detail. But another thing to mention, I also did come from console, and I've been playing on PC for a little over 2 months now, and the best thing I got from it, number one, is always work. This isn't easy, and it's not going to come easy. You're not going to get good by giving up really quickly, and it takes a lot of time. But if you're on PC, always work on your keybinds and do like builds and guns, etc., always work on what feels the best to you in terms of building. And on console, use Builder Pro if you have not, because that gives you a really good advantage. And always, always, always use turbo building if you are not yet, because it gives you the biggest advantage in building. But anyways, let's talk about the clip. Alright, so as you can see in this clip, I am doing the double ramp push. So that is something that's been around in the meta for a while now. Another thing we're going to be going into detail is pyramids. That's a huge thing in the meta, but basically, when it comes to building, you always want to be in the loop on what's big in building right now, what's in the meta, and what's the best way to like approach your enemies or build up to them without having your stuff get shot down really easily. So double ramp and double wall has always been in the conversation when it comes to meta. Some people don't like using it, some people do like using it, but if you're new to the game or on console, PC, whatever, or you just want to get better, I'd say this is a good place to start. It gives you a pretty good knowledge on like the meta, number one, and like I said, meta. I've been talking about the meta a lot, but it gives you pretty good knowledge on the meta, and it's a pretty easy combo to learn. So that can help you with your building, and it helps you with your hand coordination. So this is a good place to start. And from here, what you want to do is like work on different combos in building. So this is probably as far as I would say on as far as you would want to go to working on specific building combos in terms of materials, because in game, you know, like other people have been making videos about double floor, double ramp, and double wall, and when you're in game, that wastes too much materials, and it's not a viable thing. You know, it's not something that people usually like doing unless they're doing it for like just like 2 or 3 feet high. But in terms of like materials and stuff, it's really not a valid thing to do. So this is pretty much as far as you want to go in terms of materials and combos. So as I said, this is basically where you want to start if you want to become a better builder. Just it helps with your hand-eye coordination, pressing buttons faster, etc. And for me, when I first switched to PC and I tried doing this, or even on console when I tried doing this, it was hard. But after some practice, you know, it got a lot easier and it became natural. And there's so many different ways of doing it. So you can adjust your play style or adjust your building style into how you want to do it. What I do is I do the ramps left to right or right to left, and then I do my building or my my walls left to right. So I know some people like Daquan, he likes doing it in circles, which I can do as well, and that's how I started doing it, but it became hard. My best tip is when you're doing it is you want to run in between the middle of both of the ramps. So like go from right to left, but you want to do your best to stay in the middle as possible. So yeah, that's a really good tip, but start here if you want to get better at builds and get better at different combos. So let's move on to the second one. Alright, so let's take a dive into the meta and a little more advanced stuff. So on console, you'd probably want to set this up, because I know editing on console isn't instant. You have to wait, because I played on console for a very long time and I went through that. But on console, you're probably gonna want to set this up, go to the bottom, and then do it. You probably want to space. You probably want to space it out pretty well as well. So you probably want to do something like 2 stairs, and then a pyramid or a floor, and then 2 stairs, pyramid, and a floor. Go to the bottom and do it. But this is going a little deeper into the meta. So right now, a pyramid is a big thing in the meta. So if you're not using it, you want to get used to using it, and this is a really good thing this is like a nice little practice to editing and using the pyramid. So basically what I like to do is go into playgrounds, I like to set down stairs, and then I want to start building up, use the pyramid, edit through it, and continue building and see how long I can do that. So basically that, number one, that helps me like build fast, you know, have better hand coordination like I said earlier. That's a really big focus when you want to build fast, and it just helps you make better use of the pyramid and helps your hand get better to using the bind and the pyramid. Alright, so this kind of adds on to using the pyramid and the meta. So basically what a lot of pros have been doing lately with the pyramids is boxing in. And what boxing in is basically, it's not something you do to your enemies, basically. Or like, yeah, this type of boxing in is a different kind from the one that you use against your enemies. So this one is basically like, say your teammate gets knocked and there's enemies pushing you, or there's enemies far away who want to push you, or you want to drink a fat pot and there's a lot of enemies around you, or people have the high ground and you want to hide from them. So basically this is what the pros use to hide, and it's called boxing in. So what you want to do basically is keep them guessing by building a little box making use of the pyramid, it gives an extra layer to the top of your head wherever you are, and it makes them have to shoot through 2 objects in order to get to you, and you basically outsmart them because number one, you have the lower ground and you can edit to wherever you want because they're your buildings. And what you want to do is make enough little boxes to keep them guessing and keep them distracted for a few while you heal up, use a chug jug, use a med kit, use a mini, whatever you want to use. But this is a really good strategy, and this is something that a lot of pros use to get away from gunfights if somebody has the high ground up top, or if there's a lot of people around them and they want to do something, or if they're in like the last part of the game in a skirmish. So yeah, this is a good strategy. Alright, so to add on for a second or third time to the pyramids, this is going to be another way of boxing in. So this one is a little more efficient when you want to take the high ground, or when you're in a sticky situation and people are pushing you and you don't really know what to do. If they have lots of explosives, or you want different ways to take cover, this is a really good way to just regain, chill for a second or two, and just think of different ways to take the high ground or where they're at, or just keep them guessing as you would do with the first one. So as you can see right here, I'm just giving different examples of what certain people would do in different situations. So right here, like, you already built multiple boxes, so now they're probably not going to be guessing or waiting for you to get the high ground. And if it's a good player, you know, they're just going to chill on top of the high ground. But most players don't really care for the high grounds, and they play super aggressive, so they usually come down to you. So this is also a good example right here. What I just did is I used a pyramid, and when I edited up, I edited my floor, and then I edited my pyramid, and it basically was cover. So when I wanted to go for the high ground, I turned around and I built a wall on top of the pyramid. So that's basically like connecting everything. So that's like another double ramp push if somebody's trying to shoot you from the bottom. So that's a really good way to take the high ground. Alright, so this is going to be one of the last things that I'm going to be covering in this video. So there's a lot of other things that I may have missed, but I'm trying to go as detailed as possible with most of the buildings that I use or I see other people use. So right here, basically what I'm trying to provide is a little example on when people use pyramids the most in actual battle. So right here, as you can see, in a few seconds coming up, this is slowed down so you can pretty much understand. So say I'm on this side, right, and we're building and we're at mutual level, and he's right there where I just shot at. What people are going to most likely do is pull out the pyramid and build a pyramid right over their head right there, and then they're going to continue to take the high ground. How I just take the high ground right there isn't really like what you're going to see other players doing. You know, they're going to do it different ways, how their playstyle is, blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to be showing you now how to counter pyramids. So as you can see, the person pyramided me, and they took the high ground right there. So I'm acting like I'm in the place of the person who got pyramided, right? So a really quick way to counter this is to turn around and to start building right here like a double ramp build. That way if they shoot over your head, they're not going to be able to shoot you down automatically because you have cover over your head and your back, right? So right here, now you basically have the same level as they do and just as fast. So you're now at like mutual level and you can continue fighting, etc., etc. So that's a really quick way to counter high ground, and I will be showing you guys another way to do it right now, which requires a lot more reaction time and a lot more practice, but it is a lot faster than what I just did. So as I said, this one takes a lot more practice and a lot more stamina to get down. But what you want to do basically is go to the nearest part you can, jump off, build a platform, and continue building up. As I said before, it takes a lot more, quick thinking. But if you're able to pull it off in game, you're easily going to be able to take the high ground from them. So my best advice is when you use a pyramid, automatically start building for the high ground. Because unless you pyramid them when they're above you, which I will be providing an example, and you want to box them in, I'd say just box them in. Get out the box and continue building up, because they're most likely going to want to shoot it. You know, it's really hard to trap somebody when they're in a box. So I will be showing you guys how to box somebody in with the pyramid as well. So let's get right into that one. Alright, so now we're going to be covering how to pyramid somebody and box them in from the lower ground. So this is the perspective of somebody who's building up and has the high ground over you, right? So they have an advantage because they started building before you, like before they saw you or before you saw them, etc. So right here I'm going to be taking a perspective of somebody who has the low ground, somebody who started building late and saw the enemy late, right? So this guy already has the high ground and you're building up to you and he's building above you. So right here I'm going to be building towards him, right? So I'm going to be doing like the normal thing, you know how I usually build towards somebody. So I'm going to be taking a perspective of the guy who has the high ground again, right? So say you get close to meeting him, he already has the high ground. You know, he's a little above you, so he puts floors above you, right? I'm gonna go back down to my perspective where I was before. So this is really good use of the pyramid. So what you want to do right here, if they build a ramp above you, right? You want to pull out your pyramid. You want to jump, place the pyramid over his head. You want to box him in right there. Place walls on all 3 sides. That way he can't escape. You want to build a platform right there. And you want to build up and take the high ground from him. So this is probably the most efficient way in boxing somebody in with the pyramid, and the best use of pyramids in battle, in my opinion. And it's something that's really not that hard to do once you get used to using pyramids. And if it's an easier bind, that just makes everything easier. So now you have the high ground over him, and he's probably trying to break out the box right now or something. So yeah, let's hop into the last one, which is going to be covering how to keep the high ground with the pyramids. So let's hop into that right now. Alright, so this is pretty much the last thing that comes to mind and the last thing that I'm pretty much going to be covering. If I miss anything, be sure to drop a comment below and tell me if I missed something. But this is probably something that you've seen in the skirmish a lot. So this is a way to keep the high ground and pretty much like be 100% secured if there's something that the enemy cannot shoot at that's keeping you up. So basically what you want to do is, if you're way up high, like you've seen others in the skirmish, you know, they're really high and there's guys at the bottom with not much ammo and there's not really much they can do, and you have pretty much all the resources but you don't want to go down to them, or vice versa, you don't have much resources, much ammo, etc., but you have a lot of mats. Then what you want to do is basically you want to use the pyramid to your advantage and use it as a second layer. So instead of using just a platform and a platform only, you can use a platform then a pyramid. That way you're pretty much secured to whatever. So they'd have to shoot 2 things in order to bring you down instead of 1. This is pretty self-explanatory and not hard to learn. Really easy to practice if you've practiced every single other thing, and it's just second nature when you're in the high ground or up top and you want to keep that position. So if any of these tips helped you guys out, be sure to drop a like if you haven't yet, and be sure to share the video out with your friends if you want to practice. Let me know if I missed anything in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's hit at least 20 to 25 likes if you guys want to see another episode of Fortnite Basics. Hope you guys enjoyed it. It has been your boy Scuffy. I'm out. Peace out, guys.
Still got a job to finish. I got 100 in the clip. Watch high grip, kill the competition. Put a minute this trigger finger flicks. Yeah, use a bitch. This is it. Real as it gets, straight crack. Yeah, all in the wrist. One time like chasing down the paper. I ain't playing. I'm saying, listen, yeah, that's all me. Yeah, bringing down a man with a plan. Understand, Lord, could you?